What's up, wing people? My name's Carson. Don't usually do any reviews online, but if you're like me and you were wanting to pull the trigger on a new CWC, you couldn't find anything online. So I just thought I'd give a quick 1-minute overview right out of the water of session one. Obviously things are going to change once I get more time on it and I'm a little more used to it, but for anybody looking to maybe buy right now, hopefully this will give you a little insight. First review. Winds are light. I'm here in beautiful western Wyoming, right on the border of Wyoming and Idaho. I don't know if you can see the water. That wind gauge right there, the windmill's barely spinning. The wind gauge is spinning away. But basically 12 knots, 11, 12 knots, really light wind, pretty typical here. And I got a new 7-meter CWC, absolutely beautiful wing. Construction's incredible, everything you expect from F1. My first thing I thought when I got out of the bag, started blowing it up, was like, wow, this thing, did they accidentally put a 6-meter in the 7-meter bag? It seemed noticeably smaller than my old 7-meter CWC. And on the water, I felt the same way. It just felt smaller, it looked smaller. Maybe it's just the visual perception of a different color, but I wish I had my old 7-meter and I could do a direct overlay. Because to me, it just feels like it's actually a smaller wing than the old one was. And that's something I would want to know for sure if I was going to buy one of these right now. So one thing I remember from when I bought my original CWC was I did an overlay with the Cabrina I had, which was a 7. And the CWC was way bigger than the 7-meter Cabrina I had. So maybe they're just falling more in line to like what other companies' sizes are. Because this one to me feels smaller. I'd love to see it directly with the old one and compare the sizes. But it feels smaller, and it rides smaller to me. Like online, they've got that guide for sizes and wind ranges, and they've downgraded a couple knots on those. And people online were saying like, "Oh, I think that's a mistake. They'll probably fix that or whatever." I've only been out an hour and a half on this thing, but I would say it seems accurate. Like, the old 7 to me felt like it would go in lighter winds than the new 7. The new 7 just feels smaller. And again, if you're on the range like between a 6 or a 7 or a 7 or an 8, that's something I'd really want to know, is if the new one's a little smaller, it's obviously got less surface area. That's going to have a big impact. However, I would say, like, anybody who's wondering, is this a significantly different wing? The outline looks the same. Is it all just marketing hype? It's a totally different wing. It's way more rigid. You can feel it from the second you have it in your hand. This wing is just different. The handles are awesome. I love the more rigid handles. No more floppy noodle in my hands. The plasma coating, like, this thing doesn't even get wet. It's so amazing how dry it feels. It just feels more rigid, more performance oriented, wants to go upwind faster, wants to drive forward harder. It just feels like a higher performance wing. But again, I don't know, in terms of the low end range, maybe you'd want to go up a size, if anything. And I know there's a new pumping style that they suggest. And I do feel like I was starting to adjust my pumping style by the end of my session, and it was feeling kind of more normal. I also came in and changed from my standard. What I usually use is a 1550, and I came in and put the big dog on because I needed a little more lift to get back up. Really light conditions. I would definitely recommend maybe taking a bigger wing your first go, and just knowing like it feels smaller and less powerful. Maybe that will change over time as I get used to it, but all in all, it's an amazing wing. I'm really psyched about it, but it does feel a little smaller, maybe a little less powerful. Take it with a grain of salt. It's my first time out on this wing. I'm sure my style will adjust some, but I kind of feel like it's just a smaller, slightly less powerful wing. But overall, amazing wing. And I know they've got these in stock. I got mine Wind Dance in Hood River. And it's just beautiful. Such a nice wing. Of course, the free fly is amazing, like F1 always has. It's lightweight. Feels a little more solid. Like the build, the construction just feels a little more durable and long lasting. It maybe feels like a little heavier in the hand, but it's a good trade-off for sure for how rigid and solid this thing feels. Definitely, I think the performance is a big step up, but in terms of low-end wind range, you know, now they added a 9 to the lineup, so you've got plenty of options to choose from. But I do feel like, compared to my old one, this is more like feels more like a 6-meter to me, or a 6.5. Anyway, that's it. feel free to send me some comments if you got any questions about beautiful wing. I love it, psyched about it, but some things I would want to know if I were pulling the trigger right now and kind of in between sizes. To me, just feels a little smaller, but overall, amazing upgrade. Thanks for watching.